This is the CV checklist activity. We're going to go quickly through everything that you need to know in terms of sprucing up your resume for consistency across the structure, the different sections, a lot of the formatting, kind of meticulous elements. You name it, we're going to get through it. It's a pretty easy win, but just to go over the resources, you have the brief that you're looking at. We have an extensive list of the different checklist items that are broken into two different categories. Then we have the CV versions template. Hopefully you have a version of this of your own. We have a formatted version of a template of a CV that you can immediately start building off of if you want to make a new version, which I highly recommend. This is my version of the same thing that I just described. And then I think really interestingly, which I'm not going to dive super deep into on this activity, is all of the different resume examples and a lot of the templates that you can immediately use and get some value from. These are free downloads. A lot of the AI resume tools allow you to do this, but they don't give you a ton of control over a lot of the structure, which is why I'm building everything in Google Sheets. So without further ado, let's dive in. Before or just after we make bigger changes, I always try to make a copy of my resume and make sure that it is planted into my version of the resume management sheet. Again, we do this so that we can always keep track and readjust or revert back to stuff that we really liked, but also see the progress and ultimately use the latest version and not get confused. So inside of hopefully your drive, you have a version of this and you're able to continue to work off of it. Consider migrating to a brand new template if you have something that is not quite there and you feel like you need to adjust. Again, I've already gone over the templates for inspiration. So let's jump into the CV checklist just so we get a little flavor and understanding of what really needs to be done here because it's quite extensive. The goal is consistency and a very clean structure. So each individual section is broken down into its main categories. So the blue represents each section of the resume. So you have all of this stuff that needs to be in there. You have the summary slash objective statement, which professional summary we almost did like minutes ago. Work experience, which is basically the meat of the resume, your education, skills, certifications and awards, all that good stuff. It's in there. From the standpoint of formatting, it's to pay very close attention to the following. So it's all of the sections, which we can agree it's there. Then the common formatting issues that I often saw with resumes that I received, and it's this stuff. I think honestly, you can read on your own. You don't need me to do it for you. But the big ones that often stuck out at me was weird fonts, some issues with tone, and just grammar and spelling stuff. If you have a resume that is kind of out of order, it feels clunky. Let me demonstrate kind of what that means more visually. So, with every job that I have within my template resume right now, I have the company that is basically above and linked. You don't have to link your company. Then I have the section for my job title, followed by the date that I worked with said job. And then below, I have bullet points. Now, you could have three, you could have five, you can have whatever makes the most sense for you. You can see that same structure is consistently repeated across all of these. That is done on purpose. And the only thing that I'm trying to impart on you right now is try to follow that same structure so it appears consistent. That's kind of the name of the game and the whole reason that we're talking about this stuff. So go line by line through each of these different sheets. So the first sheet is the sections, making sure that you have everything in there. Just go line by line and check everything over and make sure that it feels coherent and you haven't missed anything. There are some sections that we did not spend a ton of time on in terms of certifications and awards. We certainly didn't talk about languages. Publications, I'm not necessarily saying that needs to be in there. It depends on how sparse your resume is and, of course, the industry that you're going into. Please read through this and make sure that you've grabbed everything out of there. The last part, again, is just going through line by line and making sure that you have checked everything over. And that's about it, honestly. There's not a whole lot happening here other than to say, check your resume. Yes, you can do this with ChatGPT, but sometimes the output is tweaked in a really weird way. And yeah, it sometimes makes sense to go over by hand to make sure that the formatting is perfect. We are now done with resumes for a little while. We will eventually pick them back up when we're going into tailoring resumes during the application process, but we are done with resumes for a long time. So let's get into the next module and continue learning.